WWE announced a major NXT change. Plus, we have an update on a New Japan star possibly signing with WWE. And we have details on a botched Raw finish. It is all in the Cultaholic Wrestling News right now. Pack your bags, get the white van round. NXT is moving, Fraser Porter.
It is indeed. It seems like this. We've had a lot of talk recently about shows going to certain channels, shows leaving other channels. But it's quite exciting to hear a new deal for NXT. They've obviously been on the USA Network for what feels, I think it was 2019. 2019
yeah.
when they were a third brand once again, and it looks like they've got I think a fairly decent move.
During yesterday's TKO Group conference call after the quarterly earnings report, Ari Emanuel announced the new deal for NXT will see the show move from the USA Network to the CW.
Just CW.
Nick Khan, the WWE president, said in a press statement, the CW has made an impressive move over the past year with its live sports programming schedule. It's a truly exciting opportunity to expand NXT's audience by bringing the show to broadcast television for the first time in NXT history. CW Network President Dennis Miller said, we're thrilled to welcome the WWE brand to the CW Sports portfolio as they play an integral role in our mission to bring live sporting events to the network year-round. NXT is a perfect fit for the CW thanks to its dynamic young talent featuring the hottest rising stars in the sports and exhilarating, unpredictable weekly events. The passion and engagement of WWE's fan base is unmatched, and we are eager to grow that audience on WWE as WWE's new home on broadcast television. PW Insider gives us a bit more.
Yeah, they said that this is the biggest increase for NXT's media rights fees ever. Ari Emanuel confirming a 70% annual growth in their value over the previous deal with USA. This comes not long after the Fox SmackDown has ditched Fox and is moving to the USA Network. So it seems like the USA Network's lost one show and gained another.
Yeah, there's been all sorts of moving and shaking in and around the place. Now, the question is it going to look any different on the CW? Well, Fightful Select say that WWE are actually very happy with the viewership increases that they've enjoyed in recent months, especially with the additions and cameos from main roster stars from the NXT end. They're hoping that is going to continue once the new deal's hammered out for ratings, talent evaluation, and performance standpoint. From those points, those involved in NXT are very happy with how it's been working. And PW Insider says currently NXT will remain on Tuesday nights. However, as they've said all the way through the process of the TV rights deals, they're willing to move anywhere.
Which feels strange because Monday Night Raw needs to be Monday Night Raw. Raw without Monday Night is so... It makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, NXT can be flexible. Yeah, it does. NXT, that feels a bit more flexible. But I guess it will... If it stays on Tuesday, it's got a free night. But where will everything else end up? Because we know SmackDown's got a history on Tuesday nights. We've got Impact might move to a different night and might clash. You don't know. TNA even, not Impact.
Oh, that's better. Get them right. Yeah. The belief also is that the show will still be taped at the Performance Center, but again, they are open to running tapings elsewhere, touring with it if, quote, the financials make sense. We've seen them doing that a little bit more and more with the with the WWE Network specials where they take them on the road, and I think on the whole they've been very successful.
It's kind of sort of trying to get NXT back to that third brand level. They had it back in 2019 and before the pandemic, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, NXT's going under a reboot. We're NXT 2.0. We're a smaller brand again. We're developmental. Whereas now it feels like they are trying to ramp things up and be like, no, NXT is an alternative product within the WWE sphere. Having it on the CW, it might bring in that younger audience that they've been struggling in the past with NXT 2.0 to attract. They had a lot of older audience members on NXT 2.0, and maybe this is trying to build that younger audience because the CW's got a big history of all that sort of content. You've got the Arrowverse was on CW, so you've got a nerdy audience base already there.
And they're waiting for you. I think at this point, it's only right that we address the Smashing Pumpkin in the room, as the CW has been very heavily linked to the National Wrestling Alliance in the last week or so. There was a lot of conversations about about potentially a deal with the CW and NWA Power and a reality show that would follow Billy Corgan's wedding as well as the wrestling. Fightful checked in with the NWA camp and said they were blindsided by the announcement. PW Insider adds a bit more.
PW Insider did add a little bit more. They're saying that those within NWA circles were sharing with those in the company this evening that WWE's deal had zero bearing on any NWA conversations with CW. The general consensus of those working around the NWA was that there was a 12-episode reality series built around, as you said, Billy Corgan's wedding. I can only imagine it'd be called like Total Pumpkins or something. Like to really get in
totally
on that.
smashing.
Total smashing. So this was pitched to the CW network as well as NWA's flagship show Power being streamed on the CW app as well. It looks like that's just not going to be the case.
It was up in the air at the start of the week anyway, because apparently the CW executives were very upset with NWA sowing and the scene which shows Father James Mitchell with some auspicious-looking white powder and some friends around a table. You know, well they were putting it on cornflakes. Let's put it that way.
They weren't happy at all with that segment,
No.
and it's. I wonder how long both deals have been in discussion.
Yeah, there's certainly been something there between both, and whether or not there was awareness of both as well.
Fightful Select was saying they were told this deal was discussed for months, well before there's rumors of NW and CW. So maybe WWE's coming at, they've been negotiating with which one to see which one they can get, and WWE's going, yep, and we'll have to wait and see for NWA.
But CW have been interested in wrestling for a little bit now, because obviously the NWA rumours and innuendo has been circulated, as is the announcement of this deal with NXT. But United Wrestling Network, which is the promotion owned by Dave Marquez, was another one that was potentially signing with the CW. Came into the picture about 6 weeks ago or so, like that. Now, it means, I genuinely do believe that now WWE have gone, right, this is us. I think that takes all of the wrestling out of the picture. I think this is, you have us and nobody else, or not us.
It feels like, why would you want other wrestling on the same network you're going to be on? Unless WWE is trying to do this global localization where they work with little companies again and having them on the CW network, it might be like, we've got a friendship there, but I just can't see it. CW is not the forbidden door.
No, it is certainly not. So lots of moving parts in this one. We'll keep you posted on it as we find out more at cultaholic.com. But NXT off to the CW. And for a show that they were, another interesting fact from Fightful, where he said the fact that they weren't receiving rights fees for this show 5 years ago. It was just something that they were producing for the network. So to be at this point where they're making millions off producing what they were already making.
And what's the speculation is 37 million a year. Which is a massive increase over what they've previously had for, as that report says, they were basically producing it just to have content, not to make money on it. As soon as if they've got this deal and they go on the road, NXT's a moneymaker. NXT's a moneymaker.
Money for black and gold rope. Elsewhere in the wrestling world, yesterday we talked about Julia, the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, potentially coming into WWE with potentially a meeting between the two sides at the Performance Center this month. Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Radio has put the kibosh on that, Fraser.
He says she's under contract until March. So up until March, nothing's happening, essentially. Mike Johnson, a PW Insider, he says, was correct in reporting that there is interest, but there's been interest in her since 2019. It's a story now, he says, with more interest in her, but she's not going anywhere until March. So she's stuck in Stardom as New Japan Strong Champion just now. But I feel like we will see her.
I wouldn't say she's stuck. I think she's having a lovely time.
She's probably having a lovely time, but she can't go anywhere. She can't go anywhere right now.
Like Billy Piper at the end of Doctor Who. Like, just can't get through the wall
that's
to
what
reach
it is.
David
Triple H
Tennant.
is David Tennant on the other side, crying, meeting on a beach in the middle of nowhere.
It's a hell of a Who
Bad
reference.
Wolf Bay, yeah, a little bit of Who.
Proud of that. We'll end with a bit of news from Raw last Monday night. I think he said last night, and I am tired. Monday Night Raw, we saw The Miz become the Intercontinental Championship top contender, beating Ivar, Bronson Reed, and Ricochet in a fatal four-way match. The finish Didn't go according to plan, though.
No, Dave Meltzer reporting.
Was it
Ricochet.
Fightful Select that
Fightful
reported
Select
this
reporting. Sorry. Yeah, the finish was. Didn't go as planned, as Dave Meltzer, though, reported previously as well. Fightful Select confirming, though, Ricochet kicked out off the pin when he shouldn't have because he'd been knocked loopy.
Yeah, so it was meant to be a case that they both stay down?
Yeah, it was going to be a double pin.
Oh, and I guess that would, and it would have, because we're getting Ivar and The Miz next week on Raw.
Yeah.
So I assume that the double pin would
Was
have
gonna
led to
be-
them going, well, you two have a match next week.
You both won. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
finish it. But yeah, so it didn't quite go as planned, which is a shame. You'd never want to have a botch in wrestling, but I know someone who'll be pleased. Matthew, he'll be buzzing. Let's go. Go on, Matthew, get it in there. Get it in the next episode.
He's going to make some money out of
Yeah.
that. God love him. The amazing new documentary is coming soon by Colin Hunter, the guy behind Kayfabe News.
Ooh.
It's called The Ref Didn't See It, and it's his story about getting into the world of the referee. And it pays homage to everyone's favourite sports entertaining zebras in the process. There's a Kickstarter set up to help you support the development and the production of it. I have a chat with Colin all about it. It's on the podcast feed right now, and you can check out the video version on the Patreon right now as well. Anything you want to plug, Fraser?
Do you know what else is on the podcast feed, Tom? Punkvember.
Punkvember!
Me and Tom and Aiden chat about CM Punk the whole month long. Every single Sunday, we will discuss CM Punk and his well, let's say controversial return to wrestling. What the highs and the lows of CM Punk's return. First episode is out now. It went out on Sunday.
And you can get the second episode. Basically, Aidan Gibbons from Cultaholic.com wrote a dissertation
Yeah,
about
he's now got a
CM Punk.
master's in punk.
Yeah.
Punkology.
Punkology.
Yeah.
And we discuss it roundtable style, and we'd love for you to join us for it as well on the podcast feed. Brand new episode coming out on Sunday. And for the latest wrestling news, check out cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.